Wow. I mean, agree or disagree, apart from winning at Old Trafford this season, that was easily the most satisfying and resounding victory of the season and the most enjoyable game to watch from the attacking side, defensive side. The only thing we can nitpick really is that it should have been 5 or 6. So I have to pair this show with one of my favorite whiskeys, the very satisfying Dalmore 12. The one with the stud antlers on it, because that's how Villa play today, like studs. If you can get the 21 Dalmore, fair play to you. As we review, dissect, and discuss, and most importantly, savor, Aston Villa 4, Southampton 0. Welcome inside a jubilant and buoyant Villa Parlour. I woke up early Saturday morning, as I always do, to check the team news. Immediately felt dread and fear seeing the news that Dean and Konza both out because of COVID protocol. And you can forgive me and others who have long memories, like memories back to, 2004, when Carlton Cole and Darius Vassell were on the score sheet as Villa rolled over Southampton. It's been since then that we've managed to get the Saints at Villa Park. And wouldn't you know it, Villa turn up with a fantastic performance despite the fact that Southampton was on a great run. Were they affected a little bit by the midweek FA Cup fixture? Maybe. No complaints here, though. And this win actually broke a deadlock between these two teams. Villa now with 27 wins all time to Southampton's 26. This was a great scene. This is what football does so well. It brings people together and they stand together, they sing together. Just wonderful moments at Villa Park in very, very difficult times. And this is the Holy Trinity, the 3 big issues or moments that defined Villa 4, Southampton 0. And just look at this scene. Look at this. There were times in this game when Villa were playing so exhilaratingly well, where they were opening Southampton up like a can of beans and the crowd just roared them on. It was something to behold, and I'm so ashamed to admit I have never been here. And I've dreamt about it my whole life, basically. We were planning seriously in 2019, and then boom, the pandemic hits, and now it feels like it's a long way away still before I can go. But when I do, I'm going to do it up big. These are the key statistics that we follow throughout the match. I change up the different stats now and again. Another game where Villa was badly outpossessed, but does it really matter? They created 6 big chances, which means they missed 3. This scoreline was very flattering to Southampton. And how about those shots? 14 of which 9 were on target. At the other end, Southampton with 11, only 1 on target. And I think that 232 is the biggest XG of the season. Honorable mention to Fraser Forster, the Southampton goalkeeper, and you could make the argument that Aston Villa weren't as razor sharp in front of goal as they probably should have been. However, let's give some credit to the big goalkeeper on the Ollie Watkins chance that could have made it 2-0. He stays big, keeps his feet on the floor. Yeah, okay, if Watkins puts it 2 feet in the air, it is 2-0 there. On the Coutinho chance point blank, what a ball by Watkins. Great run as well. He comes off, makes himself big. Basically, it hits him, but he's in the right position. And then he comes off his line on the Coutinho breakaway right before halftime. And I think just coming off his line as quickly as he did, and because he's so big, it put Coutinho off as well. He makes a save in the second half off Danny Ings before Ings made it 4-0. Without Forrester today, you have to think it could have been 5, 6, or even 7. Honorable mention from the opposite end of the pitch. What about the save Emiliano Martinez makes in and around the 58th minute? Not just the reaction to stop the shot, but he somehow manages to pop the ball over his own crossbar. It was as if he was defying physics at that moment. And for the most part, he was a spectator in that game. Didn't hurt, too, that the save came off of Shea Adams. Aw, poor Shea. So here's your goalkeeper, mostly a spectator in a game where your team is playing razzle-dazzle football, and yet he comes up with that to preserve the clean sheet. That's now 2 clean sheets on the spin, and that's something that's going to have to keep happening if Aston Villa want to mount a charge up the table. Important honorable mention. Did you notice how many times the men in claret and blue got in on tackles or got right into the face or into the confrontational physical side of the game against Southampton? I noticed this a lot, and it's not something you can measure in statistics. It's not really duels won. It's more like confrontations involving physicality. For example, John McGinn, early in the game, goes in on Romeo, and it was a foul, and he got a good bite of him, but it was as if they were to send a message to their opponents that it was going to be a tough and physical game, and that theme carried on throughout. Villa walking a very fine line between taking a foul and letting the opponent know that they were there and this was their patch and it was not going to be an easy outing. Even at the end when Armando Broja got into that little argy-bargy with Ashley Young, the team got together, they stuck up for each other, and that's a good sign. That is a really important part of this Aston Villa team, especially at home where they want to make Villa Park a fortress. You cannot come into Villa Park and think it's going to be an easy affair. And this part of the game, they must now continue, especially at home, for the balance of the season, and I would say for the balance of Steven Gerrard's time here. Honorable mention, Mings and Luiz were tidy. I don't want to hear, oh, that player had a good game or a great game. Why did he have a good game? What was so effective about his game? And for Tyrone Mings, one word: simplicity. He kept it simple. He kept it calm. There was no rash challenges. There were no moments where he was caught out of possession. He pinched the ball so many times, usually on the blind shoulder, even in the penalty area, and then played the right ball. Played a good long ball here and there as well. That was the Tyrone Mings that we all need. Calm, cool, collected, and very disciplined. Same with Douglas Luiz, who was really cold in possession, moving the ball at the right time. Neither of them gave away the set-piece opportunities for James Ward-Prowse in and around the area. And didn't Douglas Luiz make a great run for the 2-0 goal? And my final honorable mention, how about Caltinho? I mean, here's a guy, Callum Chambers, who would have found out sometimes Friday afternoon or evening that he's starting. And he didn't really put a foot wrong, did he? But this ball, it's one thing to spot the run. It's quite another to drop it on a dime while there's a game going on at 100 miles an hour. And he drops it in there with the outside of his right boot. Maybe the pass of the season. Big issue number 3 in Villa's big win over Southampton was the shape. And for most of the season, as we know, Steven Gerrard likes playing the 4-3-3. Previously, it was 2 number 10s and 1 number 9. Sometimes Buendia was in for Ings and Watkins played as the lone 9. But ever since the visit to Brighton with a little tiny tweak that sees Coutinho come in as the lone 10 and 2 proper number 9s playing together, everything has changed. And the other thing I noticed in this game was out of possession, Villa brought in the 2 fullbacks, which allowed Southampton to have the flanks, but they were not able to operate right down the middle 2 channels. And that helped Villa stay compact defensively, but also gave them a platform from which to attack from. You know, full credit to Steven Gerrard and his massive entourage, because what that tells me is that they are not stubborn. They're not locked on what was successful in the past at Ibrox. Little tweaks here, little adjustments there. Very good understanding of the opponent in this game. That's why they plugged up the middle 2 channels of the park straight down the middle, gave the width to Southampton, and every time they tried to play one of those long balls, which they did a lot, 59 by my count, that gave the entire team a chance to shift over and recover, and it worked very, very well. So whether it was the 2 9s and 1 10, how he deployed his fullbacks and the relationship that then had on the 2 number 8s, all of it worked. They're on to something right now, and long may it continue. Number 2, Watkins. Man, oh man. These 2 were good today, and you knew Danny Ings would probably be up for a visit by Southampton, not because of any animosity. I mean, his contract was expiring with Saints, so it wasn't like they were getting rid of him, and I don't think he has any ill feelings towards Ralph Hasenhüttl. but it's that he has a whole bunch of best friends still on that team. Him and James Ward-Prowse were really close. They would have done a lot of golfing together, and nobody ever wants to lose to their friends. But these two, they were on song together. Ings had 2 assists before scoring. The ball he plays for Ollie Watkins, what a sharp moment. And a little bit of good fortune. Did you notice the deflection from the Coutinho ball that finds Ings? It went off Romeu. Ings does the rest, slips it through, and this is the kind of combination we've been hoping for since the beginning of the season. And then on the 3-0 goal, not many people noticed that it was Danny Ings who stabbed the ball back to Lil Phil. Everybody was watching John McGinn bumbling, stumbling, fumbling, trying to draw a penalty, and while that happened, Ings just played it into a path for the little Brazilian, and there it was 3-0. And just before he scored the 4-0 goal, he forced a great save out of Fraser Forrester. The 4-0 goal is absolutely sublime. First of all, can we just say that Mateusz Kaszki is getting to the byline and picking out teammates on the diagonal cutbacks. He's doing it over and over again, and this time, what a ball, and Ings punches it. What a technique. First time he gets it right on the right part of his boot and the right part of the ball. No chance for the goalkeeper here. And this is with Ollie Watkins, who looks rejuvenated, maybe because he scored last week, but right from the very beginning, he had that look about him. Scores the goal, gets the nice flick that nearly sent Coutinho in for what would have been a 3-0 goal. And the one thing you're noticing now is you've got 2 players playing in their preferred positions together, and they look happy, and they look like they're going to create more chances. The one thing you cannot say about these two is that they're somehow rivals. They look like they're very happy with each other's success. And credit to the manager and the staff, because it's a big shout leaving Emi Buendia out of this side. And the number one big issue or moment that defined Villa 4, Southampton 0, Lil Phil. Oh, Lil Phil. Yes, indeed. He stood out. I mean, wow. And he will be gutted about the 2 chances that he missed in that first half. That's how the great players are wired. But he was absolutely unplayable today. Just when it seems like he's surrounded and sealed off, he dips a shoulder or makes a move, and the entire park seems to open up, and then he can still provide that pass. This is now our biggest target in the summer, in my opinion. We've been looking for a player like this for so long. He's only 30 in June, so he's got 3 really good years left in him, and I think he's still going to get better this season. And if you bring him in, then maybe he'll attract other players who want to play with him, because today he was truly unstoppable. In fact, the goal he does score was his most difficult chance. He's completely surrounded in the penalty area, makes a move, and slips it between the wickets. Poor Ralph Hasenhüttl. And I rate this guy, by the way. I'm surprised his name isn't associated with bigger clubs when vacancies become available. Maybe they have a 9-0 bias or something. And I also love him because he looks like he could be the lead trumpeter in an Alpine Oompapa band, because I have family from there. But his 4-2-2-2 simply could not cope with Phil Coutinho today. And this is a game where we didn't see the absolute best out of Jacob Ramsey and John McGinn. Imagine what could happen if those 2 players had 8.5 out of 10 performances. And I think that's still coming. As we always do, we'll wrap up with the subcategories that we've been following throughout the season. I wanted to change the slide, though, because look at how beautiful the Holy Trinity grandstand is, how imposing yet ornate, and we know there's ground redevelopment on the horizon. I hope when they do knock down and rebuild the North Stand, they somehow manage to find a way of keeping the charm that is Villa Park, because it is one of the great venues in the league for sure. And after a 4-0 win, you know there's going to be some improvement in these categories, including the record at Villa Park, 18 now out of 39 points, still a long way from being a fortress. Watkins and Ings both on the score sheet, 12 goals now on the season. They're not going to get to 25 or 30, but can they get to 20 before the year is over and make it 8 clean sheets for Emi Martinez and 2 in a row? Hi ho, it's off to Leeds we go with a chance at 3 in a row. And of course, Villa got a very important 1-0 win at Elland Road last year, but now Leeds under new management with Jesse Marsh, who I thought led them very well. And Leeds were probably unfortunate not to get anything at Leicester. So this will be a difficult challenge, you feel, and you watch. Bamford and Phillips will be back just in time for that game. But until then, we need to savor and relish and enjoy this big victory today. And until Thursday, as always, up the mighty Villa.